Welcome back to another episode of the okayest MTG content creator with me, your host, Chief. Got another deck tech for you today, and you might be able to take a guess. We're looking at a very fun, colorless commander. And here he is, Graaz, Unstoppable Juggernaut. I've been having a blast with this guy. I built this deck after thinking, you know what? I don't want to build an Eldrazi focused colorless deck. I want something different. So let's look at him. For 8 colorless mana, you get a legendary artifact creature, Juggernaut, who says, Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. And the big one, other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are Juggernauts in addition to their other types. And that's the real benefit of this guy, is he can take all your little guys and make them pretty big. So, we're going to dive into this and look at what makes him so cool. First off, I'd like to show you guys that I got the alternate art for Graaz as well, drawn by Junji Ito. So yeah, the main game plan of this deck, in my opinion, is to go wide, make a bunch of low to the ground small creatures, and then use Graaz to turn them into 5/3s and just swing in for big damage. It's a lot of fun. Colorless has a lot of really interesting options. So I'm going to show you what I went with. There's a lot of cool creatures in the deck. We'll get right into it. First up, we got Crashing Drawbridge. Just a classic haste enabler and just a decent blocker for the early game. Next we got Creepy Doll. It is indestructible 1/1. And whenever it deals combat damage to a creature, flip a coin. If you win the flip, destroy that creature. Gives a little incentive for your opponents not to swing at you in the early game. And then later it's just an indestructible attacker. Cyberman Squadron gives all your non-legendary artifact creatures Myriad. So you swing at one player with the whole team and everybody's catching hands. We got Endbringer. This guy's a great value Eldrazi. Untaps during each other player's untap step. Already good. You can tap him to do 1 damage to any target. You can pay a colorless, tap him, target creature can't attack or block this turn. And the really good part, pay 2 colorless, tap him to draw a card. So if you hold up enough mana on each of your opponent's turns, you can tap him to draw another card. It's champion, 3 mana, and he has protection from all colors as long as you control 3 or more artifacts, which in this deck you will. Ferropede, unblockable 1/1. When he deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a counter from a target permanent. So just having unblockable, and when he's a 5/3 is already great, but then being able to remove counters from target permanents can really come in handy in a lot of ways. Foundry Inspector makes your artifact spells cost 1 less to cast. Jover's Familiar does something very similar for all historic spells, which are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. Glaring Flesh Raker. When you cast a colorless spell, make a 0/1 Eldrazi spawn. With sacrifice this creature, add colorless. And whenever another colorless creature you control enters, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So this can really get an engine going for your colorless spells, doing damage, making more creatures. Those creatures can sack for more mana. It's awesome. Mirror Battlesphere. When it enters, make 4 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature tokens. It has another ability when it attacks, so you can tap however many untapped mirror you control, and if you do, it gets +X+O until end of turn and deals X damage to the player planeswalker it's attacking. But to me, just being able to put 4 more bodies onto the board when it enters and Graaz making them all 5/3s is pretty awesome. Palladium Mirror, just a great mana dork, taps for 2 colorless. Searchlight Companion, it's a 1/1 flyer that comes in and brings a 1/1 body with it. Spectrum Sentinel for only 1 mana. He's got protection from multicolor, which is already good. And when a non-basic land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain a life. And this is going to happen quite a bit. Thopter Assembly. For 6 mana, you get a flying 5/5. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control no Thopters other than Thopter Assembly, return it to your hand and make 5 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. So this just makes a lot of bodies, and then later, if you don't have any more Thopters, you can just replay it again and do that all over again. and threefold Thunderhulk. This is a big one. When he enters, he comes in with 3 1/1 counters, and when he enters or attacks, make a number of 1/1 counters, colorless gnome artifact creature tokens equal to its power. So with Graaz out, he's no longer a 3/3, he is an 8/5, 8/6, excuse me. And when he attacks, you're going to make 8 more gnomes, and you can pump him up as big as he can get. You can make that many gnomes. He is fantastic. Oh, and we got Zenith Chronicler for 2. When a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. So I wouldn't think of this as a stacks piece. It's more of kind of a group hug piece, but we need the card draw in colorless. And Stuffy Doll, another indestructible creature. When it enters the battlefield, choose a player. And if Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. So later he's going to be a 5/3 indestructible attacker, but he's also great. You choose the archenemy at the table, and maybe they got some big creatures. Maybe they think twice about swinging at you because this guy is going to block and hurt them. So next we're going to look at some of the artifacts, because artifacts are huge in this deck. So first up, we got All Fate's Scroll. Adds 1 mana of any color, but the really good part, pay 7, tap and sack this artifact and draw X cards, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. And this deck, I only run 1 basic waste. The rest are all differently named utility lands. This can draw you so many cards in the later game. Refill your hand and just keep on moving. Chroma's Memorial. Now give all those creatures that Graaz has as 5/3s, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and red. So they're going to be extremely hard to block. Even if they do block, they're probably nothing going to happen to them, and some decks just can't block them at all. Basalt Monolith. Alright, so it doesn't untap during your untap step, but it adds 3 mana, and you can pay 3 to untap it. And there's quite a number of ways to go infinite with this. If you can get something that gives 1 more mana, which I'll show you guys in a second, you can go infinite with this and one of the monuments by itself. So get infinite mana, it's great. Dolmen Gate, pay 2, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control for a 2 mana artifact. This basically gives all your attackers the ability to swing in and take no damage. It's awesome. Dragon Throne Tarkir. So it's a 4 mana artifact. It's 3 to equip, but then the equipped creature has Defender, and pay 2, tap the creature. Other creatures you control gain trample and +X until end of turn, where X is this creature's power. So it's an expensive effect, but if I can get this on Graaz, give my whole team +7 and trample, that's almost a game ender right there. Love it. Forsaken Monument. This one goes infinite with Basalt Monument by itself. You tap the monument with this, be 4. You untap it for 3. You tap it again for 4. You make infinite mana. It gives your colorless creatures +2/+2, which is awesome on its own. And then whenever you cast a colorless spell, you may gain 2 life. So it's fantastic. Horizon Stone. Say we got a whole bunch of mana and nothing to spend it on, and we don't want to just lose that mana. Well, let's just bank it on the Horizon Stone. It's fantastic. Mystic Forge. This is going to help with our card draw issues. You can look at the top card of your library at any time, which is already good. You can cast artifact spells and colorless spells from the top of your library. That's phenomenal. But what if it's a land, you say? You can tap the Mystic Forge, pay a life, and exile top card of your library and just keep on digging. Mind's Eye. 5 mana. Whenever an opponent draws a card, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. I know this seems expensive, and there's way better card draw options in EDH, but in colorless, this is phenomenal. You got a whole bunch of mana on each of your opponent's turns. Just draw a whole bunch of cards. Rings of Brighthearth. This is another way to go infinite with a number of different mana-producing artifacts. So you pay 2. Anytime you activate an ability, if it isn't a mana ability, you can pay the 2 and copy that ability and choose new targets for the copy. So there's a number of ways to go infinite with this, and say a Voltaic Key and a Basalt Monolith. So it's phenomenal. Stasis Coffin. This was a fun piece of tech. For 3 mana, you get a legendary artifact that you can pay 2, tap and exile it, and gain protection from everything until your next turn. So with this on the battlefield, if you got mana up, your opponents might think twice before trying to Alpha Strike you because it'll do nothing. And Retrofitter Foundry. For 1 mana, you get an artifact that lets you either pay 3 to untap it, pay 2 to tap it and create a 1/1 colorless servo, pay 1, tap it, sack a servo, make a 1/1 Thopter with flying, or just tap it, sack a Thopter and make a 4/4. So just having an artifact that you can just make bodies on the fly is great, especially if you got infinite mana. And we're going to have a lot of mana rocks in the deck. So Stone Speaker Crystal taps to add 2, already good. Pay 2, tap and sack it, exile any number of target player's graveyards and draw a card. So you got a little card draw, you got a little graveyard hate. It's a good ad. Moonsilver Key, pay 2 for an artifact. And then pay 1, tap and sack it. Go search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability or a basic land card. Reveal it, put it in your hand. So this is great to get more mana rocks out of your deck or lands if you really need it. Hedron Archive. Taps for 2 colorless, already good. Pay 2. Sack Hedron Archive, draw 2 cards. This is great early game, this is great later game. Grand Dynamo, a classic. Taps for 3 colorless, that's all you need. Manifold Key. Pay 1, untap another target artifact, or pay 3 and make a target creature unblockable this turn. That's just a handful of the really good artifacts in the deck. Also added 4 really fun planeswalkers, so let's take a look at those. We got Tezzeret, Cruel Captain. Whenever an artifact you control enters, put a loyalty counter on him. Pay 0 to untap an artifact or creature, and if it's an artifact creature, put a 1/1 counter on it. -3, search your library for an artifact card with a mana value of 1 or less, reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle. And its -7 is okay. You get an emblem that says be in combat on your turn, put 3 1/1 counters on a target artifact you control. If it's not a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot artifact creature. But this guy has a lot of utility for untapping our artifacts and finding more small artifacts to put in our hand. Ugin, Eye of the Storms. This is a menace of a planeswalker. Whenever you cast the spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors, just on cast. And then whenever you cast a colorless spell, exile up to 1 target permanent that's 1 or more colors. So the longer this guy stays around, the more you're going to be sniping your opponent's permanents. So they really have to do something about this guy when he's out. And all of his abilities are really good. Add 2, gain 3 life and draw a card. Add 0 loyalty counters, get 3 colorless. -11, if you can get to it, you can search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards. Exile them, then shuffle, and until end of turn, you may cast those cards without paying their mana cost. If you can't win after that, I don't know what's going on. Ugin the Ineffable. Colorless spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. So already, just for that alone, it would probably be worth it. But it's +1. Exile top card of your library face down and look at it and make a 2/2 colorless spirit creature token. And when that token leaves the battlefield, put the exile card into your hand. So he's making bodies, he's giving you some card draw, and his -3 is a removal. Destroy a target permanents 1 or more colors. Just a Swiss Army knife of a planeswalker. And the OG Ugin the Spirit Dragon. For +2 loyalty, he deals 3 damage to any target, already pretty good. -X loyalty, exile each permanent with mana value X or less that's 1 or more colors. So pretty much a board wipe planeswalker. And then -10, gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Fantastic. So we got all this power, all these creatures, planeswalkers. We need a couple of spells to help us out as well, so let's take a look. All His Dust is pretty much a classic board wipe and colorless, and it is completely asymmetrical. Each player sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. So this is going to clear your opponent's boards, keep yours completely intact, and probably win you the game. Skittering Invasion. For 7, create 5/0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature tokens, and they have sack this creature, add colorless. So if you need ramp, you got ramp. If you need bodies, you got bodies. Null Elemental Blast. For 1 colorless mana, You can counter a target multicolored spell or destroy a target multicolored permanent. This is just so useful. Say somebody's got a kill on sight commander that's multicolored, you can counter it or you can destroy it. It's fantastic. Not of this world. 7 colorless mana. Counter a target spell or ability that targets a permanent you control. And it costs 7 less to cast if it targets a spell or ability that targets a creature you control with power 7 or greater. So if they're coming after Graaz, this is free. So it's great. And Scour from Existence. It's expensive. A 7 mana instant that says, very simply, exile target permanent. Any permanent. So very useful, expensive, but a very powerful effect. And then finally, I want to go into some of the interesting lands in the deck. It is chock full of great utility lands, but I'm going to go over some of my favorites real quick. So Arch of Araska with Ascend, if you have the City's Blessing, you can pay 5 to draw a card. Activate only if you have the City's Blessing. And a lot of the lands have card draw, which is very useful in this deck. Wander's Enclave, another one. Pay 3, draw a card, activate only if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, which is probably going to happen, well, for sure, after Graaz is out. Everything is power 4 or greater. We also got Buried Ruin, very useful land. Pay 2, sack Buried Ruin, return a target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So if someone blows up my Akroma's Memorial, I just get it right back. It's no problem. Field of the Dead. This was a big land. So now, once this is out, if I play another land and I have at least 7 lands on the battlefield, I get to make a 2/2 black zombie. So just make more bodies. Powerful effect. Fountain Port. Swiss Army Knife land. It can add colorless or pay 2, tap it, sack a token, draw a card, pay 3, tap it, pay a life, make a token creature, pay 4, tap it, create a treasure token. So it just does a lot of use out of this land. Blast Zone. This land was actually better than I realized. Enters with a charge counter on it, and then you can pay XX to put X charge counters on it, and then you can pay 3, tap and sack it. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of charge counters on it. So what's phenomenal about this is I can sack the land, pay 3, tap and sack it to destroy all just tokens that my opponents may have. So if they got a whole bunch of tokens in a token deck like Balin or something like that, and I just need to get rid of all of them, Blast Zone just does that with no real additions to the charge counters. Seagate Wreckage, pay 2 and a colorless, tap, draw a card, activate it only if you have no cards in hand. So it's great if your hand is empty and you need something, and you don't even have to sack it. It's great. And probably my favorite, War Room. Pay 3, tap, pay life equal to the number of colors in your commander's color identity to draw a card. And our commander has no colors, so just pay 3 and draw a card anytime we have this land. So that's pretty much it. I've just been having such a fun time with this commander and exploring everything that Colorless can do. I hope some of you got something out of this, and maybe we'll consider building a colorless deck just for something completely different than what you've done before. It helped me get out of a rut, and start trying something new, something different. But that's pretty much it for today. I hope you've all had a great time. And with that, this has been the okayest MTG content creator. You guys have a good one.